Hello, BachScholar here, also known as Corey. It's very nice to have you with me today, and I thank everyone for watching my videos and supporting me. Without your support and your interest in my videos, I wouldn't be here, so thank you. Today I have a really interesting video for you. This is a tutorial on William Bolcom's very famous and very beloved Graceful Ghost Rag. Graceful Ghost Rag. It was written in 1970, published in 1971. So it's a relatively new work in terms of so-called classical music, I guess, even though it is ragtime. It is a beautiful work. I don't think I've met anyone that doesn't like Graceful Ghost Rag. You know, there are a lot of compositions, a lot of works in the piano repertoire, from the standard Baroque through contemporary, that some people may not like. It may not be everybody's cup of tea. Some people may love a piece. Some people may not like a piece so much. But Graceful Ghost Rag by William Bolcom is just so beautiful. I've never met anyone that doesn't like it. So everyone loves the piece. If you are one of those few that do not like it, I don't know what's wrong with you. It's a beautiful piece. Let me tell you about the history of my knowledge and playing of this piece. I became familiar with it when I was in college as a freshman in college in 1981 and 1982. It's now 2016, so this piece has been in my conscience, and I've played it and messed around with it now for 35 years. That's a long time. So if this piece is new for you, if it's something that say you're young, say you're 18, 19, 20, and you're just picking up for the first time, don't feel bad about not being able to get everything from the beginning. I'm sure that my understanding and my playing of it wasn't too hot back then. I don't think it was nearly as ripe and mature as my playing of it is now. So you need to give yourself time with the piece. It's like a fine wine. It takes years and years sometimes for something to mature and your understanding of a piece to grow. So do not get frustrated and give up because you spent 3 months on it and you can't play it yet. Okay, so sometimes it takes a few years, several years actually, to really know a piece and to make it become a part of you. Okay, so don't give up on Graceful Ghost Rag. Now, let me talk a little about tempo first. There's a lot of different approaches to this. I think I've probably tried out just about every tempo in the book. I think I used to play it a little faster several years ago. I used to even swing the rhythms with dotted style rhythms, which can sound okay if it's done well. I think I don't do that anymore with it. In fact, my speed is slower than most. In fact, the speed that I've chosen is actually substantially slower than William Bolcom's circa 120 per eighth note. So nothing against the great William Bolcom, but this is a piece of music that has to become a part of the performer. And I think that dictating tempos with metronome marks is kind of a dangerous thing, because opinions can change. Who knows? Mr. Bolcom may have marked 120 in 1971, and 30 years later perhaps he preferred it slower. I don't know. So I'm the same way. I'll compose a piece and like it a certain way, and 3 years I might change my mind. So So keep your mind open about tempo. Don't rush into any don't rush into any quick judgments about how fast or how slow you should be playing the piece. What's more important is the way you're playing it and the way you're approaching it, and the articulation and the pedaling and the voicing and dynamics and everything else that goes in to playing it. So just to let you know, my last recording of this, which I really do like, and I think I think I've finally matured on this piece over 35 years. I think I'm very, very pleased with the way I play it now. Is 42 per quarter note, or per crotchet, for you Brits out there. 42 per quarter note, that's 84 per eighth note. I know it seems slow, but you can do a lot. It really infuses the piece with a character that's really special. Okay, so I have this on 42. Okay, 42 per quarter note. Let's see how this sounds. 1 and 2 retard there. And it does repeat there. I love that tempo. I do. I love that tempo. 42. I think several years ago, when I was working on it seriously, the last time I was seriously working on it for some period of time, I think I was closer to about 50. I think I was closer to around there, maybe 48, I think. And there's a huge difference. There's a huge difference between 42 and 48. You wouldn't think so, but there is. Now let me play it at 48 now. There. Bolcom doesn't say the retard here, but I would definitely a little retardando here at the end of the phrase, at the first ending. Okay, that was 48. You wouldn't think there's a big difference. 42 per quarter and 48 per quarter. There's a huge difference. There's a huge difference. Let me go back to 42 again and see if you can hear a difference. That's 42. Now, that's 48. All things were the same. I played it the same way, same pedaling, same articulation, same. I did pretty much everything exactly the same. The only difference, excuse me, the only difference was the tempo. 42, versus 48. Most people tend to play it closer to 48, even maybe faster than that even. I've heard it into the 50s. I've heard it into the 50s. Now, let me go a step further. I'll go in the 50s. 54. Let's see what it sounds like at 54. Around in the mid-50s. It's starting to get a little faster now. Now let me go to 60. Well, who on earth would play it that fast? 60? I'll tell you who, William Bolcom. He marks 120 per eighth note. 120 per eighth note. So let's see what that sounds like. I don't like that. I'll have to admit, with all due respect, Mr. Bolcom, if you happen to be watching this video, with all due respect, I just can't do it. I can't play it that way. I can't. It's against my musical conscience. So you decide. You're the performer. You need to decide what tempo you like best. So what a good thing to do is about tempo is wake up one morning, try it out at a few speeds, various speeds in the 40s and the 50s, maybe in the 60s. Try it out. Then the next day, try it out again. Some days you'll like a certain speed, you'll like it really slow. Other days you won't. But if you just go on and give it some time, live with the piece for a few years, you'll sort of get down to the bottom of it and decide what you want to do. So let me just say, I'm not telling you to do it at any speed. There are lots of different approaches to it. But at this point in my musical life, I've chosen 42 per quarter note. So you can do what you want. Now, let's go to another topic other than tempo. I wanted to cover that first because it's very important. I want to cover the touch of this piece. Oh, first of all, let me just talk a little about the notes. Some people with tutorials on YouTube like this, they want the notes. Okay, for some people, a tutorial is for the person doing the tutorial to spoon feed you the notes. You know, to have the camera over your fingers and to play extra slow so you can learn the notes. This is not the kind of tutorial I do. You need to learn your notes. Do your due diligence and learn your notes. Learn your notes, learn your rhythms. You know, experiment with different fingerings. I'm sorry, don't have time to get a whole lot into fingerings today. But you need to do your due diligence with learning notes, and then you can come back and follow along with my interpretive suggestions here. So I'm sorry, I just don't have the time or the energy to teach you your notes. So you need to learn your notes and rhythms, and my purpose here is to teach interpretation. Okay? So assuming you know your notes pretty well, the touch is very important in this piece. What I would suggest to do is, first of all, the piece needs a lot of pedal. It needs tons of pedal, a lot of pedal. It needs to be used carefully, but still, you use more pedal in this than you do in almost any other ragtime piece. Generally speaking, the slower a piece is, the more pedal you're going to use. So This one, with the tempo that I play and the tempo most people play, you're going to require some pedal. But that being said, it's the best thing to do is to practice it with no pedal at all. So when you're learning your notes and rhythms and you're formulating your control over the piece, it's best to not use any pedal. So my foot is off the pedal. Notice how I'm playing all staccato. Nice. It's not a harsh staccato. It's like a pizzicato. Pizzicato. The violin is being plucked. Pluck the violin bow. Up. Very light. Very light. No tension. No tension in the left hand. No tension at all. This is the ghost. Casper the friendly ghost going through the house while the people are sleeping. Very slow. Okay? That's a good way to practice. You should play the whole piece that way. The whole piece. Just the left hand with the whole piece. I'll just see how fast that was. Let's see. That was about 60 per eighth note. 60 per eighth note. That would have been only 30 per quarter note. So that's substantially slower than the 42 that I perform it at. Another rule that you should follow, not just in this piece, but in all pieces in general, is back up to about half speed when you're first learning it. So don't be in any rush. You could even go slower. Just make sure that you have the control. And here's the B section. It has to be absolutely seamless. No mistakes. Don't fumble around with notes after you know your notes. Once again, this is the ghost floating through the house as the people are sleeping. It's a mysterious but a friendly ghost. Now, I'm not following dynamics here, so when we put hands together, you know, it's not all going to be piano or pianissimo. But when you're first getting used to things, you don't have to do all the dynamics all the time. Just do a nice, in this piece, just a nice little pizzicato in the left hand. Make it as relaxed as you possibly can. Don't make it floppy though. When I say relaxed, it doesn't mean to, don't do this. Don't do extra motion with your hand. Just, you're relaxed. You're relaxed, but don't do any extra motion with your hand. No up and down with the wrist. That you really have to keep it as calm as you possibly can. So I would suggest going through the whole piece that way. Sometimes it's not the same. For example, in the trio section here, the grazioso section, there starts to, Bolcom introduces two voices in there. practicing the left hand, and you need to get the left hand as natural and light as you possibly can. Do that throughout the whole piece. Okay? So once you get the left hand, and you know, you don't have to first just do the left hand until you can do right hand. You can do these simultaneously. So one day you might want to just concentrate on the left hand. Another day you could concentrate on the right hand, or another day you can try to put them together. So there are lots of different approaches for this. Now, the reason why I'm starting with the left hand is the left hand is the foundation of ragtime playing. And the next thing you need to do is when you put the right hand with it, the right hand, except for when you have octaves, a lot of places when you have octaves, you can't play legato. Like if you were to slow it down, you know, Bolcom has a line here on the third line down. He has a phrase line over all those octaves. It looks like you have to be all legato. Well, it's impossible. You can't make them legato. You're going to do that with the pedal. But when you're practicing hands separately, or your right hand by itself, don't worry about the fact that it's not legato. You're not going to be able to make it all legato. But here's the thing, when you can do so, this piece needs to be predominantly legato in the right hand, predominantly not legato or staccato in the left hand. Okay? So this means that when you can't be totally legato in the right hand, sometimes the pedal will help you with that. Also, you want to bring the top note out. So I'm going to use both hands now with no pedal. Did you hear I went? It was actually staccato. But there's a legato line over it. So, but that's not a contradiction, because it can be solved with the pedal. So when you put pedal on every eighth note, you're turning it into a quasi-legato kind of piece. So don't let the legato lines throw you off and make you feel like you have to do too much work. It should be as easy as possible to play, not as difficult as possible. Now, bring out the top notes. Top note. Now here, top note has to be legato with the fingers. So you have a note underneath with your thumb, and then here I like to do those non-legato, which he has marked here. Legato here, so not that, but that. These will be non-legato. Octaves. Don't worry about playing them legato. Here, the top voice is legato. Here is not legato. So here it's legato. Then, because it's almost impossible to do that legato. You'd have to do a finger substitution, and there's no point in even trying. So you have to know when you're legato and when you're not legato. You have to know that. It can't be an accident. So here's legato, non-legato, non-legato. Now here, that's legato. And we have there the end of the first section. The second section especially, it's a great section because you have finger legato in the right hand. Do your best to make all this legato with the fingers. Cantabile, cantabile. You need very flexible fingers for this part. Sforzando. 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 So that was predominantly legato there in the B section with the right hand. The left hand not. The left hand will be doing this. So once again, I'm playing with no pedal. Let me play from the second ending here, the last measure of the first page. Staccato in the left hand. That's sforzando. Right hand. Legato. As much as you can. Left hand staccato. So a totally different touch. Totally different touch. You want to have the feeling like the right hand is molasses in the B section. The right hand is smooth as you can be, as smooth as molasses or syrup. The left hand is brittle as stones. Not loud stones. Not, you're not playing loud. You're just a little pizzicato. Now, I'm going to take that exact touch that I did, the right hand legato, left hand staccato, and I'm going to put pedal on it. Now I'm going to pedal pretty much every eighth note. Let's see how this sounds. And my tempo, once again, is under the performance speed. So. No pedal here. Just a little bit of pedal there. Now, what I like to do, and you may have heard this on my last recording, what I love about this section is you can do a lot of very interesting things. Like what I do on the repeat. On the repeat, I try to remove most of the pedal. So the first time through is all lots of pedal like I just did. Then the repeat is and then you'll hear, if you listen to my recording, you'll hear I removed most of the pedal on the repeat, so you could hear the left hand with its pizzicato. I love that effect. I love that effect. Bolcom didn't mark that, but that's one of the licenses you can take as an artist. So I just wanted to experiment a little bit with that. Now we get to the grazioso part. We have make sure it's strictly in time. 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and. I like to play these. I like that better than legato. Experiment with that. Experiment with this and this. I like that. I like that way. I don't think I did it that way 30 years ago, but I like it that way now. In fact, you can even do this. Recently I started doing that. I think I do that on my recording instead of that. Instead of that. That. So experiment with the touch in this place. There are a lot of things you can do. Dun 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 dun. Articulate those right there. Count the 16th notes in your head. 1 da da da. 1 da da da. Count those in your head. The rhythm has to be absolutely precise. That's what's one of the great things about this piece, is this sort of mysterious objective quality to it. If you mess around with rubatos and that kind of thing, you're going to ruin it. So do play it in time. And then you have little pedal here, no pedal here, pedal here, pedal there. There. Bring out your syncopation. Bring out your syncopation. I've mentioned this in several of my other ragtime tutorials. Syncopations are absolutely vital. This section in particular has a lot of syncopations in it. In fact, they're from the very beginning. Like in the beginning, you have da da da. That's a little more subtle syncopation, but here, when you get to the second line of the third page, you have there. Bring out that dissonant chord right there. So that the syncopation comes right where the tie is. The tied note is the syncopation. Then let off. So it's a crescendo, decrescendo. Crescendo, decrescendo. Decrescendo there. biggest one of all right there. So you want to go towards that point. A little retard here, a little retardando there. He doesn't mark it, but it needs to be done. Here's one of the few places that you will not, I wouldn't recommend playing when you have the fourth line down on this page. Do not play pizzicato like that, but do more of a legato touch there. So that this is an exception to the rule of that. So you have, this is, you can just put a whole bunch of pedal on this here. Pedal, 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 pedal. Now, no pedal. So bring the pedal off there. Pedal. Use the pedal on those long to help you hold those. So here, pedal on there, not here, not on that chord, but on there you can use pedal. Okay? And once again, count carefully. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. No pedal here. I like that better. You can do a legato or you can do non-legato. I prefer non-legato now on that. Also, remember we're playing it slower now than the real tempo. So pretty much that all repeats here on the fourth page. The fourth page is a beginning at the top is a reiteration. The third page with a slightly different harmonies and you go a little higher up there. But here you need a lot of pedal. And even if you can reach this, even if you can reach, I can reach that, the 10th, even if you can reach it, still roll it. It's an expressive roll. You're not rolling because you can't reach it, you're rolling because it's an expressive roll. So, gives it sort of a nice oomph there, and then pedal. Play the rhythm strictly here. 1, 2, da, 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 da. There. Bring out that chord, that syncopation. There. That chord, bring that syncopation out. Decrescendo there. There. That's like, that's about, probably the high point of the whole piece is right there. The high point dynamically is probably right there, I think. Da, da, da. Don't worry about legato here. You're doing a quasi non-legato with the fingers, with the right hand, but you're employing pedal there to make it legato. So it's sort of like a compromise between the two. Do definitely a retard here, as Bolcom marks. Retard. Now go back. to your original tempo there. That's all exactly the same, with a little coda tack on here when you get to goes downwards with the roll. I think I forgot to do that on my recording. Actually, you can retard a little earlier than he says here. So you're going along like this. Not too much. Right after you hit that chord. Then you can do most of your retard there, but you can do a little before that. Put a pause here, like about 2 seconds, 1 or 2 seconds, then in tempo. Don't do any retard at the very end. Okay, those last 2 measures need to be in time. But do this though. That chord right there. That's. Put a little accent on that chord because that's, and then get softer on the last chord. Don't do, that, but do that. So get softer on the last chord. It needs to have that little bite on that syncopation right there at the end. And dry, no pedal. And lift. Right after you release the B flat here, then lift your right hand. Don't do this. Actually, hold the right hand just a tad longer than your left hand. It makes a big difference. Experiment with that ending. Experiment with the ending. This is like putting just the right amount of spice on your food. Just the right amount. Just the right amount. So experiment with your control and your articulation. I played everything I've played so far has been under speed. In fact, I'm considerably slower than my performance speed of 42. So I wanted to do that so you could hear carefully while we're working on this. So let me just summarize what you need to do. I'm just put it on 42 just to test myself here. You know. Well, I don't know. Sorry, Mr. Bolcom, but I would change that note to a G. I think I play a G there, actually. I like that chromaticism. This is in the 4th line down, 2nd measure over. Anyway, whatever that note is, I think I play a different note there. So, just to summarize, okay. You don't have to figure out your performance speed from the beginning. That can be an ongoing process. Okay? The next thing, get your touch down. The touch is so very important and vital in this piece. So spend a lot of time with a nice slow speed playing pizzicato with the left hand. Predominantly pizzicato, except on the third page it changes a little. Third and fourth pages. And then it goes to the same at the end. Predominantly legato in the right hand. Staccato in the left, legato in the right. Molasses in the right hand, brittle stones in the left hand. But small brittle stones, not large stones, just small brittle stones. So you have that delineation of touch between the hands. One thing you don't want to do is make it all the same. That's an example of something not to do. Even when you're learning notes, try not to do that. Try not to fall into the trap of just playing all the notes, okay? You need to get to the character of the piece. This is a graceful ghost, a graceful, maybe a friendly ghost, Casper the Friendly Ghost, floating through the house while the people are sleeping. It needs to be mysterious, yet precise. Everything has to be precise in this piece. So give it time, put your effort into it. Don't get frustrated if you can't get it down in 2 months or whatever. Believe me, you know, I've been playing and messing around and with this piece now for 35 years. Okay, so give it time and you'll get it. And I'm very, very glad to, really happy to work with you on this today, and I hope you get something out of this tutorial. And so until we meet again, bye.